best a man can get.
Back here on First Things First, we're joined by former NFL head coach Eric Mangini. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you?
Welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Nice. Good to be back.
What's up, C? Gave me a look.
I'm just moving along. That's all.
All right.
That's all.
Just taking it all in.
We'll talk some Rams now. They followed up
people conversation.
They followed up last season's Super Bowl appearance with a 3-0 start, but the biggest question then is still the biggest question now. Is Todd Gurley really healthy? He's fresh off a game with, wait for it, 43 rushing yards and 0 catches. Head coach Sean McVay insists Gurley is not on a limited workload, and he himself has to do a better job of getting Gurley involved. Coach, do the Rams need Gurley to return to the Gurley of old if they want to be a Super Bowl threat again?
Well, when you look at his statistics, he's still averaging 4.6 yards a carry, and collectively, the team's averaging, or the team's in the top, 5 or 7 in rushing yards per game, overall rushing yards. They're incorporating Malcolm Brown more into the mix, which I think is actually a good idea. It's a long season. He's consistently had heavy workloads. If he is still coming off an injury, the ability to mix in the carries or to split the carries a little bit more evenly, as long as you're not sacrificing production, which they really haven't sacrificed a tremendous amount of production, I think that's a good thing. You have a chance now later in the season for that back to be fresher. Now, that being said, with him being a significant threat and creating those 8-man boxes, it opens up for what they want to do all the time, which is the hard sell play action shots, and it also clears things up from a coverage perspective. We talk about this a lot for Jared Goff, because he knows what he's getting with the 8-man boxes.
I'm far more concerned about this than it sounds you are. I think Todd Gurley's been, other than Aaron Donald, the most important player on this team over the last 3 years. Todd Gurley in 2017 and 2018, put those 2 seasons together, he averaged 1,900 yards from scrimmage and 20 touchdowns. And the reason I'm so concerned is he's not coming off a specific injury. He seems to have a degenerative knee problem. If it was, he got hurt. He's not yet up to full strength. There was an injury, there was a hit, Carson Wentz situation, something like that, I'd feel one way. And the other thing that is, to me, a flashing warning sign is, you mentioned yards per carry, which is 4.6, which is good, right in line about with his career average. He has 4 catches for 8 yards this year. He has been non-existent as a pass catcher out of the backfield, and where you have seen the numbers dip is on the Jared Goff side of things. Jared Goff is having very small sample size, but the worst start to a season he's had under Sean McVay. Now, are they still a Super Bowl threat? Well, if the defense continues like this, which is the best defense they've had since Sean McVay's been there, the most productive defense, they can offset an offense going backwards a bit. But this was a top 3 offense last year that does not look like a top 3 offense. And the reason they were that, to my eye, was because they had the most dynamic dual threat running back in the NFL. And I don't think Todd Gurley is that anymore, or at least he hasn't shown that to me.
There's a couple of things that cause me a great deal of concern. And part of Nick's concern is probably just an overflow from me. I don't know, guys. I played with a guy that had a degenerative knee. His name was Robert Smith. That was ultimately the reason why he retired, turned down a lot of money, was because he said, I want to be running, playing with my kids when I get older. I haven't seen running backs come back. There's only one Frank Gore. Besides that, there's no other running backs that I have seen that have degenerative knees. Nick makes a great point. This is not, he tore his ACL, he tore his Achilles, he ruptured, he did something. No, he broke his leg. No, this is a condition that does not get better, and it only gets worse. And what I've seen over the last year is a running back last season who they need to give a break to recharge his battery. And then he was still only part of himself in one playoff game, and the next 2 weeks, he was a different player. Training camp, how'd they come back? He's only 25, right? Oh, he can't practice. The NFL is easier now than any other time in the history as far as the practices, the wear and tear on your body. They have him on a pitch count at training camp at 25. So for me, what happened last year, what's happening at training camp, and When was the last time you seen Todd Gurley run an explosive route down the seam, down the football field, the way he used to do the previous 3 seasons? No. I think Todd Gurley is damaged goods. I think that the Rams are doing the best job to spend this as much as possible because they don't want to look bad about that contract that they gave him. But there is no other running back that is his age, fits his profile, that's on some type of pitch count.
I remember Curtis Martin talking about dealing with pain and understanding that there's going to be a certain amount of pain that goes when you're dealing with an injury. There's going to be a certain amount of pain that you have to get through, and it's different than re-injuring whatever you have. And that may be some of it for Todd Gurley, is understanding that there's always going to be pain because it is a degenerative knee, and how much pain can you deal with, and how do you deal with that, and coming to terms with that, and that'll help him. I think the Rams are doing a good job because when you do have something that's a wear and tear based injury, to take some of the wear and tear off him, to maximize what he can give later in the season so that he is a threat. He maintains the ability to be a threat deep into the season and into the playoffs. I like the approach of splitting up the carries and taking some workload off as he learns about his ability to deal with this injury and this amount of pain.
Yeah, I would love if that was the #1 plan. We have a great player, Ezekiel Elliott, Le'Veon Bell. We have a great player. You know something? We're going to draft someone behind him to take that workload off. I don't think it came that way. I think that they discovered that knee was not getting better. They gave him all that guaranteed money, and then they decided, you know something? We're going to need some help to be able to take the load off of Todd Gurley.
But doesn't a limited run game now affect their play-action game and what they're going to do moving forward?
That was the perfect question, and the numbers say absolutely right. Where Jared, listen, every quarterback's numbers are better in play-action than not play-action. You talk about all the time, the best quarterbacks, when they know you're going to pass, can you pass? The reason play-action's effective, suck up the linebackers. The defense has to deal with the threat of the run and the pass. Last year, Jared Goff was as effective as any player in the league on play-action passes. This year, that productivity has evaporated. Now, maybe it's just small sample. Maybe it's bad luck on a couple throws. Or maybe it is that plus teams are less afraid of the play action because you no longer have the most dynamic, deadly running back in football back there.
But that's not true. He's averaging 4.6 yards a carry. Malcolm Brown's averaging 4.9 yards a carry. They're a top 10 rushing team. So is every team going to come up and say, okay, we're willing to concede almost 5 yards every time they throw the ball? Sometimes with that play action, it's a formation-based thing too. Defenses catch up. They've studied a lot of Rams film, so you need to build that hard sell play action out of different looks. If you keep giving the same looks. Different formations. Because I can tell you, when they get in tight and those tight split receivers, the percentage of hard sell play action from them jumps dramatically. I'm sure there's some down and distance tendencies. I'd imagine first play of the series, hard sell play action jumps dramatically. They got to break those tendencies too.
All right, Coach, stick around. We'll leave it there. Coming up, is the Packers defense carrying Aaron Rodgers? Boy, when was the last time we said that? Next on First Things First.
Chris.